Friends, good afternoon. I welcome you all to this press interaction following the meeting between External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar and US Secretary of State Mr. Michael Pompeo. The sequence will be as follows. After the press statements by External Affairs Minister and Secretary of State, there will be two questions each from the Indian and the US media, so a total of 4 questions. To begin the proceedings, may I request the External Affairs Minister to deliver his statement to the media.
Good afternoon. It's a great pleasure for me to welcome Secretary Pompeo to India. As many of you know, he is the first foreign minister I am hosting after assuming charge as External Affairs Minister. So it's a particular privilege. He's also the first senior figure from the Trump administration to come after this government assumed office. As someone who's been associated over many years with the growth of India's relations with the United States, I'm particularly pleased to see him today and to welcome him. India and the United States have a strategic partnership, and that is actually based on deep and broad convergences which have been steadily growing over the last many years. Obviously, there will be some issues on which we have our individual perspectives, but I think for us today, both as countries and as foreign ministers, harmonizing our interests and our views, that's really the task of diplomacy, and I think Secretary Pompeo would agree with me today that we've earned our pay. Now, both of us are guided by the big picture of the relationship. That vision was, as currently was set out in the many meetings, starting with the June 2017 meeting between Prime Minister Modi and President Trump. Obviously, from time to time in any relationship, specific issues will arise, and I think we've discussed many of those issues largely in the framework of that big picture. Today, our discussions covered trade issues, energy issues, defense issues, investment concerns, and people-to-people contacts between India and the US. As foreign ministers, we both are very conscious of our responsibility to deliver on the vision of our leaders. And in doing so, therefore, our discussions took a very integrated view of all the domains which the relationship deals with. Now, in greater specifics, I think we discussed a number of bilateral and global issues. On terrorism, I took the opportunity to express our appreciation for the strong support that we have received from the Trump administration. What we see is really zero tolerance for cross-border terrorism. We have, of course, Prime Minister's initiative for a global conference on terrorism, and I'm sure that's something the US would look at positively. We had a discussion on our defense cooperation. That, again, has been a very encouraging story over the last decade or more. Today, we operate a number of American origin platforms and other equipment. And the key point here is that if that is to continue to grow, it's important that we display trust and confidence in each other. There's been a steady appreciation, a steady liberalization of American laws and regulations pertaining to defense and high technology, and that's something, again, I would thank Secretary Pompeo and the administration. We also discussed energy issues, and I underlined the importance of stability, predictability, and affordability in terms of India's energy imports. Again, you all know that we have started sourcing some of our energy from the United States in recent years. On trade and investments, the U.S. is today our largest trade partner. It's among our key investment sources as well.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be here. It was great for me to be able to get in here so quickly after the election, the enormous election that Prime Minister Modi won. Having run a few campaigns myself, it was incredibly impressive. And the mandate that he's received, I think, is incredibly important. Minister Jaishankar, it's great to be with you. It's great to have a chance to spend as much time as we had here today. I know we'll get a chance to do that regularly and frequently, and I very much look forward to that. I'm confident that we have the benefit of building on a strong foundation between two of the world's great democracies. We saw this in the election. We saw this incredible democratic vigor and lead to a wonderful outcome. In recent decades, our relationship has made real strides, but there's an awful lot more that we can do together. And we had a chance to talk about each of those big strategic opportunities between two great countries. We can, in this context, see each other not just as bilateral partners, but as something much bigger than that, as friends who can help each other all around the world. In addition to conveying President Trump's best wishes today, I also had the chance to discuss with Prime Minister Modi these historic opportunities, and I'll elaborate on our potential in the speech at the India International Center a little bit later this afternoon. In fact, I can say that the U.S.-India partnership is already beginning to reach new heights. We've bolstered our defense cooperation. We've solidified our common vision for a free and open Indo-Pacific, and we've grown cooperation in energy and in space and in other areas. I know, too, we'll have another opportunity to expand these bonds when Acting Secretary of Defense Esper and I welcome Foreign Minister and Minister Singh to the United States later this year for the second ever 2+2. I will have then been a part of 100% of the strategic 2+2 dialogues. The United States is committed to ensuring that India has the military capabilities it needs to uphold its territorial integrity and to confront 21st century challenges. Completing the various military agreements we have already agreed to will help us hit that goal. And the United States is pursuing a range of efforts to meet President Trump's commitment to share defense equipment and technology with India, as we do with our closest partners. India's own experience with terrorism is very real. We know that. As the blast that ripped through the Sri Lankan churches last Easter Sunday have shown, terrorism is a constant in this region, and India's ability to fight it should be second to none. Our teams will continue to work together to improve information sharing, intelligence sharing, and strengthen India's ability to fight terrorism